Once again, welcome back to Crypto Toro. On today's video, I would like to talk about OMG Network and how it will be performing. But firstly, once again, thank you very much for watching my previous videos. I really appreciate that. And if you like this content, do not forget to hit that subscribe button and even that bell notification if you would like to stay up to date for the upcoming videos during this period. So let's take a look right away at the OMG Network chart, and what I'm currently seeing is a huge pattern being created. And I know that I'm not a huge fan of these patterns, but I will still draw them to give us the best possible information. And as you can see, it's a descending triangle that I'm drawing at this certain moment on the OMG network compared to USD Tether on the 4-hourly chart. And what I'm seeing here is this descending triangle being created. And yes, these triangles tend to break out towards the downside. But what we are seeing here currently on OMG Network is that previously, before this triangle, this pattern was created, we saw this huge move towards the upside being created, and this means that we had a upward momentum going on, and we had an upward momentum even before that as well. We had a drop after that, but we saw once again that OMG Network pumped towards the upside, and that's why I'm personally thinking that we will personally see OMG Network break once again towards the upside, especially because right now it's trading at previous levels of support and resistance, as you can see inside of the orange box, and I think this is very important as well. But if we see a break towards the upside, I will be measuring this possible move towards the upside. For us, this move would be a move of approximately, let's take a quick look, by placing the measurement tool, and it would be a move of approximately 50%. And if this move plays itself out after OMG Network retests this zone, this area where we're currently trading at, just above this horizontal support line of this descending triangle, and if we break above this downward sloping resistance line, find support on it, and break with a huge leg towards the upside, we could be seeing a OMG Network price of approximately $15.73, and that would be also above the previous high. And if we could be finding support on this level at approximately $14.87, that would be absolutely marvelous for OMG Network, especially because then we would be seeing a huge leg towards the upside being created. So that's what I personally think that will be happening, especially because we saw that previous upward momentum in the past before we started this downtrend. And what I wanted to show you as well is actually the MACD. The MACD on this chart, for me personally, it looks really good, because as you can see, if we look a little bit further back, once a downtrend is initiated on the OMG Network chart, we see that a lot of downward momentum is created as well on the MACD. But after a huge downward momentum like we see over here, most of the times right after that downward momentum we see an uptrend being created, like we saw during the past uptrend, and we saw this huge line towards the upside being created. And what we are seeing right now is actually something very similar to this huge waves of momentum that we were seeing in the past. And what we are seeing right now is once again a huge momentum towards the downside being created over here. A small momentum towards the upside. Once again, a slightly less bigger momentum towards the downside. But right now, I think after this crossover, we will still see a downward momentum towards the downside, a slightly downwards momentum towards the downside. But after that, we will be seeing OMG Network have a huge momentum towards the upside, and that's especially where I'm waiting for, because that it will mean that we will be able to break above this downward sloping resistance line of this descending triangle. And yes, I know we are almost at the end of this triangle, and it could be possible that this momentum switch on the MACD would be enough for OMG to break down below the horizontal support line. And if it does so, we would be seeing as well a move of approximately 50% towards the downside on OMG Network. But I think that won't be that probable, because if we go down, we will be going down until the $6.10 level, and I personally think that we won't be going anywhere, that we won't be going further down, because right over here we found as well a huge level of support on that level, and as well we have seen here that we traded right above it. So I think the $6.10 level will be a level where I personally will be looking at if OMG decides to go downward instead of up. but I'm not doubting that it will be going up, especially because right now I will be showing you the US dollar chart, but on the daily time frame. And what we are seeing over here on the daily time frame is something absolutely similar to what we were seeing on the 4-hourly time frame, because the descending triangle is still there. And something important is as well over here, we had as well on this chart an upward momentum before we formed this descending triangle. And I think this is just something we really have to take a look at. But what I will be placing our trend line to take a look where we could possibly be heading towards if OMG Network decides to break towards the downside. I will be placing it like this. And if OMG Networks breaks towards the downside, I think we will be finding resistance on top of this trend line. Like we saw in the past, we had many touch points. As you can see, I won't even count them because there are so many touch points on this trend line, and that's why I think it is even more significant that and more possible that we will be finding support on it. And that would be at approximately, if we would break down right now, it would be at approximately $6.97. So I personally think that these are the levels where OMG Network will be heading to if it breaks towards the downside. And I will also activate the EMA ribbon to take a look at that, so we have even more data about what it could be possibly doing. And what we are seeing over here is that we are at a point where the EMA ribbon is getting closer to the candles than before, and once it does so, as we saw over here, when the candles find support on top of the EMA ribbon, it could be very likely that we would see once again a leg towards the upside being created. But it might be as well possible that we break firstly down below the EMA ribbon, as we saw over here, find resistance on this upward sloping support line, and as well the trend that I'm looking at. And after that, when we cross above the EMA ribbon on the OMG Network chart, I think we will be seeing once again a huge momentum towards the upside being created, and that's where I'm personally waiting for. So I'm waiting actually for a retest of this previous upward sloping support where we had many touch points in the past, and that's why I think it's very significant for OMG Network. But I will be switching to the OMG Network compared to Bitcoin chart on the daily time frame as well to show you something. And what we are seeing here on the daily chart is something completely different than what we were seeing on the daily chart compared to the US Tether, because what we are seeing here is actually not a descending triangle but a symmetrical triangle being created. And a symmetrical triangle is a pattern, it's a continuation pattern of the previous trend, and the previous trend, as you can see, was a trend towards the upside. I will be showing you just in 1 second after I place these lines correctly, and you can take a look at it. The previous trend was towards the upside, and that's why I personally think that we will be heading, once we break out of this symmetrical triangle on the OMG Network chart compared to Bitcoin, and if we break out, the potential move towards the upside would be of approximately, let's take a look how much percent this potential move will be. Let's take a quick look by measuring it, and it would be a move of approximately 30%. And if this move takes place, we will be trading underneath this level of support and resistance. And what I'm personally waiting for is to go even higher, finding support on top of this level, because if we do so, we will be creating once again a higher high right over here. And once we create a higher high, it means that we will still be inside of an uptrend. We still are, but then we will be even further inside of an uptrend, and I personally think that would be very, very good for OMG Network. And that's why I will be also measuring if we broke down towards the downside where we will be going to, and that would be as well a move of approximately 30% towards the downside. And if it breaks down towards the downside, I am personally thinking that OMG Network will be finding support inside of this orange box and trading in between these two lines of support and resistance, especially because we saw that in the past we have a lot of data that can tell us that this is a huge point of support and as well of resistance. So I think this level would be a great level for OMG Network to find support on if it breaks towards the downside. So this was my quick update about OMG Network. Do not forget to like the channel down below in the description, and if you do not have your own Femex account to start leverage trading, do not forget that down beneath in the description you will find a referral link where you can get up to $200 deposit bonus. So do not forget to use that link down below in the description, and I would like to wish you a pleasant day. Peace out.